Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, Out of Voice Radio, and today, with Lost Thunder having just been released, it's time to bring you my buy list. Now, just a quick reminder of the rules of my buy list over here on PTCG Radio. These are the cards that I think you need to have in your binder so that you can essentially make whatever deck you like. There might be cards that I don't think are good that you do, in which case go buy them. There might be cards that I think are good that you think are rubbish. Don't buy them. The real exception here is GXs. Generally speaking, GXs tend to be expensive, and if they're not particularly good, you can just pick them up whenever for quite cheap. So there is going to be at least one GX on this buy list that you do, I think, have to go for. Outside of that, it really is buy them if you want them. So I think you need 2 copies of MEGANIUM because it's got that amazing ability that lets you just play stage 2s onto basics. No rare candy, no waiting a turn. This could be awesome. With Lost March potentially being a thing, you need 4 Skiploom, you need 4 Jumpluff, you need 4 Trumbeak. Unfortunately, you got to have those Pokemon. You never know if this is going to be an amazing deck. I think it's worth getting 4 Spinarak as well for Lost March, but I wouldn't be upset if you left them out. You need a minimum 2 copies of SHUCKLE, because that ability allowing you to discard basic energy is crazy good. You need 1 copy of CELEBI Prism Star. I don't know how great it's going to be, but I do have faith that eventually someone's going to make a great deck with it. You need 4 copies of GROVYL, because the ability letting you search for a grass Pokemon once per turn is crazy good, and I really do think there's an awful lot of potential here. Obviously, whenever I'm talking about evolution Pokemon, you need a pre-evolution. It doesn't necessarily need to be the one from Lost Thunder. I think you need 4 NINJASK and 4 SHEDINJA, but having said that, that is more of a personal choice. It might never end up being good. I do think you need a copy of VIRIZION-GX. I think the GX attack here is so potentially game-breakingly good in certain decks that having a copy is going to be useful, but I think it's one of those, wait a little bit, wait until it's a little bit cheaper. I think we're going to need at least 2 copies of MOLTRES. It's a good starter in fire decks. MAGCARGO-GX is a great card, which is great for accelerating energy, but again, the price could be a bit prohibitive, so you may want to wait on that. Although I did want to point out MAGCARGO as a very good card. I think you need 4 copies of VICTINI, because it's going to be amazing, especially in Expanded with Skyfield. It is a phenomenal card that does 20 damage for each basic Pokemon you've got in play. It's over the top good, and I really do think at some point in the near future, it's going to be broken. I think you need to go and get a playset of these sooner rather than later. In terms of BLACEPHALON, it's unlikely to be cheap, but unfortunately this could end up being the best deck in the format, so I'm not saying you need to go and buy them now, but a quick heads up that they are very good, and they're likely to go up in price. I think you need a couple of white KYUREM. The attack for a double colourless energy actually allows you to remove a Prism Star Stadium from the field. Prism Star Stadiums are very good and cannot be removed using Field Blower, and for that reason, I think you need a Pokemon like this. It's a basic, it's 2 energy, it's pretty gosh darned good. ZEBSTRIKA, I think you need 2 to 4 copies of ZEBSTRIKA. It's an amazing draw engine. Discard your hand, draw 4 cards. A bunch of people have been asking me about the bug on PTCGO that won't let you use the ability if you've got 0 cards in hand. That's definitely a bug. That is not the way that ZEBSTRIKA works. I also have a real soft spot for DEDENNE here, just because it does 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. For each Pokemon you have in play with Nuzzle. It's a common, it's never going to be expensive, but I do quite like that as a weird kind of run around and have a play at League deck. I do think you need 1 or 2 copies of Zeraora GX. Zeraora GX is one of those, it's the ability. The ability essentially gives free retreat to anything with a lightning energy attached. It's going to be good in stuff like Rayquaza. It's going to be a good card, and it's going to see a lot of play. so I think it's one that you need. You're going to need a couple copies of WOBBUFFET. WOBBUFFET's ability says that as long as it's on your bench, Prism Star Pokemon can't attack and have no abilities. It's really, really nice as a counter to get rid of your opponent's Prism Stars, or at least to make them useless, so it's something I think you need for the future. You need 4 copies of Giratina. Giratina is a brokenly good card, which is one of the very, very best cards in the set. If it's in the discard pile, you can put it on your bench and then do 1 damage to each of 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, except its damage counters, so it will go through things like Magikarp's Submerge ability, for instance. It's going to be amazing and expanded. When we've got Skyfield, it's going to be great with Victini. It's going to be great with Zoroark. It's going to be amazing with Mega Gardevoir. It's just one of those cards which is so gosh darn good. You are going to need to have a full playset of them. I believe this is going to really shake up the expanded format. I think less than a playset is just not going to work, to be honest with you. You need 1 or 2 NIHILEGO. This is something you should be putting in every deck where you're either playing Lightning Energy or you're playing something like Rainbow Energy. If your opponent has 2 prizes remaining, you get to copy any attack from any Pokemon on their side of the field. It's crazy good. You need a couple of copies. And you need 4 Naganadel. Naganadel is the best card in the set. It is absolutely wrecking over in Japan. The main deck, which could well be the new best deck in the format, is with BLACEPHALON, but we've seen it played with Tapu Koko, we've seen it played with Suicune, we've seen it played with Blissey. We've even seen it playing with a Turtonator from Dragon Majesty. When I say played, I mean winning tournaments in Japan. It's crazy good. I think you need it. You're going to need a couple of copies of ONIX because it's a really good attacker. For 4 energy, it hits for fighting weakness. It's great in decks like Malamar that can accelerate energy, and I know it was controversial when I made a video about it, but it's seeing play in Japan as a counter in stuff like Malamar decks. I do think you need a couple copies of it. Similarly, and this is the weird part of the video, you need a couple copies of LARVITAR. LARVITAR is a really, really good attacker. 80 for a double colorless if your opponent's Pokemon has got 3 or more damage counters on it. It's actually a really good attacker in certain decks. You're also going to need 2 copies of Alolan MEOWTH. This has a phenomenal attack for 0 energy that does 70 damage on your first turn if you went second. And it's another one of those, just like with Alolan Vulpix, where you can use your attachment for the turn to retreat whatever's in the active, so you can then attack with Alolan MEOWTH. It will win you games, and there are decks in Japan that are winning tournaments that are playing 4 of these, so you may wish to up it to 4 instead. You need a couple copies of COBALION, because if you ever play a counter energy deck, this is probably the best option as a metal Pokemon, so you do need to bear it in mind, you do need to have a couple. The awkward one here is Alolan Ninetales. You probably need a playset of Alolan Ninetales. I did a video about why it's now wrecking the format, but essentially it just makes every deck better. It makes Stage 2 decks viable again. It means that you can get Beast Ring on the perfect turn if you're playing an Ultra Beast deck. It is phenomenal, and as much as it pains me to say it, I think you do need a playset of Alolan Ninetales. No, they're not going to be cheap, and of course you can ignore them, but I think you're going to need them. You need 4 Granbull. Granbull has actually proven to be a really good card. It's doing well in Japan, it's a good deck, and it's not going to be expensive. You need a couple copies of the non-GX Gardevoir, because if you're playing a Gardevoir deck, I think this is a really good tech to put in it. You need 1 copy of XERNEAS Prism Star. I'm still convinced this should be put as a one-of into every fairy deck. And if it's going to be a one-of in every fairy deck, yeah, you're going to need a copy of it. You need a couple copies of RIBOMBEE, because in every fairy deck you ever play, this is going to be a really good Pokemon. It stops effects of supporter cards to your fairy Pokemon. That's really, really quite good. You need a copy of Ditto Prism Star. This may well end up being the most played card from Lost Thunder here. It can evolve into any stage 1. If you're playing something like Granbull, whereby you're only playing really a 4/4 line of your attacker, it gives you a 5th basic. If you're playing a variety of stage 1s, brilliant. It means that you can then roll with it and to evolve it into whatever you want the following turn. I think you need a couple copies of each of the KECLEON, because these are going to be really good if you ever play the appropriate unit energy. And then into trainers here, I mean, my general rule is you need 4 of most of these, to be honest with you. I think you need Adventure Bag. You're probably not ever going to play 4 Adventure Bag, but you never know. Ether Foundation Employee is bad now, but if an Alolan deck comes around, it's going to be really good. You can probably hold off on that one for now. Choice Helmet reduces damage from EXs or GXs, you need 4. Counter Gain reduces your attack cost if you're behind on prizes, you need 4. Custom Catcher is a gusting effect. If you play 2 at the same time, you need 4. Electropower does 30 more damage for each of your lightning attacks this turn, you need 4. Faba's a weird one. You can probably get away with a couple of these because at the moment you can search it with Tapu Lele, but it's a supporter which gets rid of your opponent's tools, special energy, or a stadium, so that's pretty good. And I think you need the Fairy Charms because you never know what Fairy deck you're going to play, and you never know what the meta's going to look like, and if you end up playing a Fairy deck in a fighting heavy meta game, you're going to want Fighting Charm, or Fairy Charm Fighting. Kahili, I'm not convinced on, you can take that or leave it. All the Prism Stars, your Heat Factory Prism Star, your Life Forest Prism Star, your Thunder Mountain Prism Star, these are just guaranteed automatic one-offs in that particular deck, i.e. Thunder Mountain in Lightning, Heat Factory in Fire, and Life Forest in Grass. You need one of those, one of each. 4 Lost Blender, because that's going to be great in Lost Zone decks like Lost March. 1 Lusamine Prism Star, because it's great in Ultra Beast decks and it's only a Prism Star. Prism Stars, obviously, you only need 1 of. 4 Mina, because it's energy acceleration in Fairy decks. 4 Mixed Herb, because it's great healing. Moo Moo Milk, I'm actually not convinced. I think you could take it or leave it, but you never know if it's going to be great in future. Although if you ever play Miltank, obviously you will need Moo Moo Milk. That should be a given at this stage. You need 4 Morty for if you play Psychic decks. You need 4 Netball for if you play Grass decks. You need 4 Professor Elm's Lecture because it's a great turn 1 supporter card if you're playing low cost decks. But then again, if you're playing something like a Alolan Doug Trio that has 60 HP, it's good beyond turn 1. 4 Sightseer because it's amazing in decks like Naganadel for discarding energy. 4 Spell Tag because it's great for doing extra damage in Psychic decks. Whitney, I am unconvinced, but I think you probably need 4 of them. Memory Energy, you need 4 of because you don't know what you're going to be playing in future. It lets you use attacks or pre-evolutions. And Wait and See Hammers, maybe controversially, I think you need 4 of them. And the reason is incredibly simple. There's an Alolan Meowth coming at some point, Japan's already got it, whereby if it's on the bench, you can discard a Wait and See Hammer from your hand and draw 2 cards. That's good draw. And it discards an energy from your opponent's Pokemon on your first turn if you went second. I don't think it's great now, but when we finally get that Alolan Meowth, it's going to be good. I know that's a long list. The whole list is now up on the screen, as you can plainly see. But it's a huge set. There's plenty of cards out there, like Blissey, that you might want to play. If you do, brilliant. But I don't think they're vital. The cards I'm giving you here are essentially things like Lost March and Granbull that are basically going to be good decks. And then other cards which I think could be put into a whole bunch of different decks, so you need to have them just in case. As always, ladies and gentlemen, the final decision rests with you. So, if there's any you think I've put on here that I shouldn't, if you think there's any I haven't put on here that you think I should, do make sure you pop a comment down below. And of course, tell me what your favourite card from Lost Thunder is. Go nuts in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/TheWasi. patreon.com/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, the best place to do so is patreon.com/PTCG Radio. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WossiePlays for some more Wossie action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.